Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I figured I'd do a therapy session this morning. There's no basketball till Tuesday, and I didn't address my camera at all yesterday. Wasn't nothing bad at all. Actually, I was doing a lot of art, whole lot of music listening, whole lot of relaxing, trying to get my mind into a place that is really, really, really good. More than anything, it's not even about that. It's about getting the practice going, being as repetitious as I can with what it is that I've learned to love, which is my little collage art. I ain't gonna call it collage art. It's visual art. You know, I take my little markers, grab my little printing paper, and come up with stuff. So that's really what it is. You know what I've found is in doing so, surprisingly, um, I can see a difference in my mind when I close my eyes and then visualize certain things. I think that's what I could say doing art, as much as I've done it, has done for me. Because I don't consider myself a visual learner. I've never looked at myself as somebody who had visual gifts. I'm more so a person that, you know, this broadcasting, playlist curation, music stuff. Occasionally, I would find that I like my poetry and stuff like that, but I never really had any talent and stuff that provided visual arts in my mind. Interior design, as you can see, I don't, you know, if you ever looked around this place, it ain't much going on here. Clothing and stuff like that, I've never really had a whole lot of style and stuff like that. Never ventured into that aspect of my creativity, so I just assumed I was just bland in those areas. But now that I'm finding I can be creative and mess with colors and mess with shapes and stuff like that, what it's doing is it's changing my mind's eye, so to speak. I look and see my head, close my eyes, and I can visualize things better. I see things better. I see colors more so in my head. I see angles and stuff like that that otherwise just that wasn't how my head works. So you can literally see changes even at 37 years of age. Once you start doing things differently, or you start practicing new things, you're gonna see changes, organic changes. Just like I found out when I started getting in shape, I started, shaving off fat on my body when I was a young man. 'Cause, you know, I grew up a chubby kid, so for me, I thought my body always would feel this way. I didn't have an understanding of what my body felt like when it was in shape. So once I started putting on certain types of muscles, my reaction timing started getting quicker, my breathing started getting better. You know, moving from one spot to the next just felt different. Opening up cabinets and stuff like that, bringing twice as much strength to do certain small tasks, stuff like that. It never even concerned. It never occurred to me that that was even possible. Like I always thought the body would feel the same way, and even if it got in shape, I felt like pain would still hurt the same. You know, I don't know. I just didn't have a visualization of what it meant to feel different and how exercising consistently and repetitively could bring about a whole new everything. You know, in terms of how I felt physically, and this is no different in terms of my mental. So, you know, that is something that I'm taking with a great deal of seriousness, and continuing to try to explore and see what I can do and see how I can evolve as a person. Um, I guess what brought me here was not that though. Segue into a different way of looking. Um, I think last night, going through the whole process of having a night where I was praying a lot and doing a lot of meditation last night over the same situation I was telling you guys about in the last therapy session, or the therapy session before the last. I'm not sure which, but I was telling you guys that uh, my ex girlfriend came back into my life in a friendship capacity, and kind of shook some things up for me. And you know, being that I'm in this setting and I don't really leave the house ever, you get stuck with your thoughts in the four walls of your house. You know what I mean? This is why it's so important for everybody to get air and be interactive with others, because you will harp on things and stick on things way more so than you would have if you had normal day-to-day distractions and stuff like that. But because I don't, it forced me to deal with some things that maybe I hadn't dealt with in the last couple of times we got back in touch with one another. Things that I thought I was cool on, or rather had gotten over, that reared their ugly head in this particular stage in my life. And I guess that's where I'm at. Is, you know, this year has been about addressing emotions and things of that nature. that I had long suppressed for many, many, many years. If you guys watch me at any length closely, then you probably heard me say a lot over the years that I didn't cry at all. It was a situation where I might have cried when I was 13 years old for the last time, when I got into an argument with my mom or something like that. That was the last time I had cried, all the way up until like middle of last year. So that's a good almost 25 plus years without a single tear coming down my face. And it wasn't that I felt I was suppressing pain. It was just that I felt like none of the pain that I had felt prompted me to feel that emotional at any given point all throughout them years. Now, mind you, I had gone through this relationship breakup, which hit me hard. I had lost people, including my mother and my father. So it was a lot of things to cry about, but for whatever reason, from 13 to 36, I didn't cry at all. Well, this year, I'm dealing with a lot of those feelings that never got addressed. Stuff that didn't make me cry is now making me cry, putting me in a position to be emotional. And I don't like it at all, but I knew that that was probably a natural occurrence. I knew that would happen at some point. I used to say that when I was a young person. I'd be like, you know what, all these tears gonna come catching up to me one day. All these things that hurt and I didn't deal with. It was gonna be a time in my life where I'm probably super emotional or super wrecked. And I'm not gonna say that I've reached that level, but I've gotten some cries in, and last night was another one about my mother. I'm thinking about my mom, not necessarily my ex at all, but it was just a point. Like my ex's situation opened the door. She unlocked the combination key for all the other emotional stuff. So that's what it is. It's like dealing with that. And so last night I was thinking about mom. Last night I was thinking about different things, the passions that I'm now into, art and stuff like that. And it's one of those situations where what came to me in the midst of all that meditation, after all those thoughts and all that stuff had subsided, was just the presence of being patient. Patience. Sometimes when you're, if you're a prayerful person, if you believe in God's bringing you gifts and blessings and all that stuff, if you're to subscribe to that, then you understand that what I'm about to say is will align with what it is that comes with that. So for me, I'm like asking the Lord to bring me certain gifts, or even something small, like, Lord, help me pick a playlist to listen to or something like that. Random stuff. And then asking him to help me pick a playlist, I realized that in order for him to do that, we have to go through the process of selecting the right thing, right? Which means, like, for example, if you're asking God to bring you a blessing, well, maybe in your mind you think God can just drop the package or whatever it is onto your doorstep, right? But we are on earth and we adhere to the laws of the world, the gravity and all of that stuff. So that means if the Lord is to facilitate a blessing to you, if he's going to give you a blessing, you got to wait until it's possible for him to give it to you based on the laws of the land. So for example, if I'm asking him to drop, say, okay, let's use the playlist, for example. Let's say I say, Lord, let me pick the right playlist. And I'm sitting there and I'm scrolling. I'm like, God, you're taking too long. Where is the playlist? You're taking too long. But what I had to realize is, yes, is he going to pick the right one? Yes. Would he choose to give me the right one right now? Yes. But the process of living to the laws of the land, which require me to scroll to get to the right playlist, means that he too has to wait until the right one is selected. Then I can be prompted to press play and listen to the right playlist. But if I say, God, give me a playlist, and then immediately press the first thing there, it ain't gonna be the selection that he intended, because you would need to then wait for the scrolling process to select what it is that he chose for you. That is basically what this is about. This is about, after all that meditation, sitting there saying how whatever I was feeling about different things, after the emotions went away, it was just some wisdom of patience and waiting for him to give you what it is that you're asking for. Wait for him to be able to facilitate your blessing to you. Don't think that just because it's taken so long that he has forgotten about you, or that he doesn't intend to give you what you're asking for, that it's not possible that you receive what it is. You just gotta wait for the process to align with what it is that you're asking for. And sometimes it takes a little while. Sometimes it takes a while to scroll. Maybe you just so happen to be on the right playlist when you pray for it, so you can just press and that be the one he wanted you to have. But that you wait will determine whether or not he aligns you with what's best for you. A lot of times we sit up and pray. We want what we want right now. And because we've prayed, we think that the first thing we do is the thing that's going to be aligned with the blessing. I can't tell you that it's not as I just described, but what I can tell you is waiting. Waiting has always allowed me an opportunity to get what it is that is meant for me best. No different from the car that I just let go. I went out, and I've told this story before, but my friend Tendai and myself drove out 2 hours, almost 2 hours, try to get to a vehicle that I had, negotiated and found the terms with. We got all the way out there. I couldn't get the vehicle because my credit wasn't where it needed to be. Now, were we a little frustrated? Yeah, to say the least. But in regards to the car, I ended up getting the car that I wanted, same car that I went out there for, but at a better price and a better color. Through 2-3 weeks later, maybe, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks later. But the point was, yes, I could have been frustrated, gotten all the way out there, not got the car I wanted, came back home and gave up because and been mad at God for not giving me the car that I prayed for and all of this, that, and the third. Or I could get all the way out there, have a good time with my homeboy, buy one of the best sandwiches we ever had, because I had never had a chicken sandwich that good, and it just so happened to get it on that trip. But the point is, like, you take the good from the trip, you come home, and you wait for the blessing that he has for you. You wait. And then, when you can get it, when it's actually possible for him to facilitate that blessing, you'll get the one that's best for you. Not the one you want, but the one that's best for you. Same happened in regards to this apartment. I came all the way down here. My homegirl had looked up this place. She told me where to go. I had applied for it, checked it out. When I got here, the place felt right. Mind you, it felt like the place I was going to be at. Even outside the door, I had a different vibe about it than I had any other places I had checked. So, to me, it felt like I was getting all the right stuff, that I felt would allow me to feel I'm in the right place. Came in the room after had the little walkthrough, I should say. And as soon as I got in here, I felt even better about it. Felt better than I did outside. I'm like, yo, this is my apartment. Like I told myself, like, this is it. It feels the same way it felt when I first entered the apartment I had left. When I first got there, I had a certain vibe about it. This place had that same vibe. So I'm like, I know this is my place. This is it. Found it. They told me they had already given it to somebody else. After the whole process of me having that come to that conclusion, telling them I wanted it and all that, came home and they told me they had given it to somebody else. I think a good 2.5 months passed. 2.5 months. Kept looking for other places, applied for other places. Had all kinds of stuff happen, didn't work out. I told the story before, but the moral of the story was, the day I was supposed to be moving into my car because my grandmother was kicking me out of my apartment, I got the email telling me that this situation had fallen through. And that the person who was supposed to get this place backed out in the last minute. And that they were looking for someone, and they remembered that I was a candidate, and they wanted me to re-enter my application and give them my check stub because they were trying to move somebody in right away. Just so happened to be the day I needed it. Now, mind you, I could have gave up on this apartment or even not even thought about looking at my email that morning. Because to be honest with you, I just woke up that morning knowing I was going to be homeless that night, and something told me to check my email just to see if someone had maybe dropped a miracle message in my inbox telling me that I had gotten an apartment. And they had. About 11 hours earlier, it had been sent. Now, mind you, I don't check my emails. I'm the person that'll leave an email in there for 3, 4, 5 months. But I knew I had applications out there. I knew that I had one last cry for apartment. I knew that I had been praying a lot, and maybe there was a blessing coming my way. Maybe the Lord was just continuing to scroll. Didn't necessarily mean that he didn't have something in mind. It just meant that I needed to wait for it to be possible for me to receive it. It didn't come when I wanted it. It came when I needed it. And the vibes that I got when I got here were accurate. Now, the path I would take to get it definitely wasn't the one I thought. I got a bunch of no's, a bunch of stuff telling me, nah, this ain't yours. You ain't getting that. Every reason to quit, every reason to move on, every reason to give up. But the vibes had already told me this was my place. 2-month wait, miracle check of the email, circumstances last minute, didn't matter. The point was, what's meant for you is meant for you. I don't care how the path goes. If you know it's yours, just wait for it. If you know it's yours, just wait for it. If it ain't yours, then something better is coming. But the point is, there's never a reason to not believe that something you know is yours isn't yours. If you know it's supposed to be yours, in good spirits. Now, obviously, some stuff ain't yours, and you'll convince yourself it is, etc., etc. But I think that's the importance for myself of involving him, because a lot of times I'll lean on my own understanding, think I want something, and won't know what comes with the something that I want, and end up having consequences that come with it I do not want. To be of better wants is what I've learned to be, rather than to be upset about stuff I don't get. Look and see at what it is that I want, and then visualize various scenarios of what it is with it. Sometimes you can be very happy with what it is you want. Sometimes you can visualize yourself not being so happy with it. Maybe great things come with what it is you're asking for. Maybe a bunch of nightmares come with what it is you're asking for. But the point is, you don't know what comes with it. So to be so certain you should have what you want is to presume you know what comes along with it. After 37 years of life, I can tell you, even the best of things I've ever wanted have come with things I didn't want. And as I just described, even things I was told I wasn't going to have came my way. So I don't know nothing. Which is why I pray for gifts of a divine nature these days. That's how I pray. Give me things that you want me to have, because I know they're going to be attached to everything that feels good to me. But if I lean on my own understanding, refuse to wait for the scroll, so to speak, quit before I get a chance to receive what it is that's coming my way, even though I know the vibes tell me it's mine. If I do all of those things, I never receive it. But if I keep my hands in a ready position, when the ball drops out the sky, all I got to do is catch it. And that's what faith is. That's what faith is to me. So I share that with you, regardless of what God you pray to. I don't have an opinion about that. What I can say, though, is this is what I've learned. You just got to wait for it to be right for you to receive, because sometimes stuff just can't come right away. But if you ignore timing and you just go after what you want, you might end up having the wrong thing and miss out on what's best for you. So that's my therapy session. I think that's what I got out. I didn't want to come up here ranting about my personal stuff as regards to my situation, what prompted me to feel this way. Because at the end of the day, a lot of what's going on in that situation is internal for me. I'm alone in how I feel about a lot of that stuff. And some of those discussions that we've had have helped me understand that. So it's no sense in getting into detail about what about those type of things, even though this is a therapy session. I don't think much good can be said in regards to venting on that. I don't think much good can be done there. I'd rather take the fruit that came from the meditation and from that sadness and do something with that. It's more productive. So that's what I got, man. BDF 44. Thank y'all for watching. Out.